I used to believe that home meant safety, stability, a kind of quiet victory you earned after years of just surviving. Maybe that's why I cried the day I signed the paperwork. Not tears of regret yet, but relief. Exhausted, overwhelmed relief. After years of working 2 jobs, skipping vacations, and funneling every spare dollar into a savings account labeled someday, I was finally buying my first house. A home, my home. It was supposed to be a fresh start, but when my brother Ryan called it a steal, I didn't know how right or how wrong he was. "You're getting this for $100 grand less than the market value," he said, sliding the listing across the table. "I swear, it's a blessing in disguise that your offer on that condo fell through." He smiled like he always did, flawless white teeth, sun-kissed skin, eyes trained like a sniper's on whoever he was trying to charm. Ryan had that polished realtor confidence, the kind that could make you second-guess your own instincts. He was 7 years older than me, always mom's golden boy, always closing some massive deal, always one step ahead. And me, I was the creative one, a teacher who painted on weekends with student loans and anxiety and a little too much hope. I looked down at the photos on the glossy sheet. The house was old, maybe 1940s, but charming. Pale yellow siding, wide porch, ivy crawling up one corner like a secret. It had a big yard, tall trees, even a tire swing still hanging like a relic of some happy childhood. "It's kind of perfect," I said cautiously, "but I feel like I'm missing something. It's been on the market for a while, right?" Ryan shrugged, already typing something into his phone. "Only because it needs a bit of work, cosmetic stuff. Some buyers are too picky, plus the seller's out of state and wants it off their hands fast. You're walking into instant equity." That's when Mom chimed in. "You always overthink, sweetie. This is the kind of opportunity people wait their whole lives for. You're lucky Ryan's your brother." She smiled that smile, sweet, warm, and full of subtle pressure. "You can finally stop renting those little shoebox apartments," she added. "And we'll all be so close, Sunday dinners, holidays, it'll be wonderful." I hesitated. There was that feeling in my stomach again. The tiny warning whisper I'd learned to live with but rarely listened to. But I was tired of commuting, tired of rent increases, tired of feeling like an adult child at family gatherings, tired of being treated like I was still figuring life out, while Ryan showed off listings with private saunas and wine cellars. Maybe Mom was right. Maybe I overthought everything. 3 weeks later, I was handed a set of keys with a little ribbon on them. The seller was a faceless investor company. Ryan handled all the paperwork. Mom brought champagne and posted a photo of me on the porch with the caption, "My baby's all grown up, so proud. #first home." That night, I moved in with a small U-Haul, a heart full of hope, and a playlist titled Home Vibes Only. The air inside the house smelled like fresh paint and lemon cleaner. The wood floors creaked in a comforting way. I sat on the floor with takeout and felt a strange sense of peace settle over me. The house had personality, character, like it had been waiting for me. Around midnight, I lit a candle and took a bath in the clawfoot tub. I remember thinking how quiet it was, peaceful. When I finally fell asleep, it was with the windows open, the sound of wind through the trees lulling me into dreams. The storm started around 3 a.m. Thunder cracked like a whip over the roof, and heavy rain slammed against the siding. I sat up groggily, heart pounding. The power flickered once, then died. A minute later, I heard the dripping, and then the gurgling. By the time I reached the bottom of the stairs, my feet hit water. It rushed up cold against my ankles. The floor of the living room was submerged under 3 inches, and rising. I stumbled backward, heart racing, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Rain was pouring through the windows in the basement. Water spewed from a cracked corner of the foundation like a broken artery. My storage boxes floated like little coffins. Panic set in like wildfire. I tried to call Ryan, no answer. I tried again, voicemail. I called Mom. She picked up on the second ring. Mom, I gasped, voice shaking. The house is flooding. She was silent for a moment. Well, it's an old house, honey. Things like this happen. What do you mean, things like this? The basement's underwater. I've been here less than 24 hours. Okay, don't yell, just breathe. I'm sure it's not that bad. It's that bad, I shouted. You and Ryan said it just needed cosmetic work. You said it was a steal. I said it was a good deal. Maybe some things didn't come up in the inspection. Ryan did his best. Her voice had that calm edge she used whenever I was being emotional. I hung up. By morning, I'd soaked through 2 towels trying to push water toward the drains. The damage was done. The floors were ruined. My couch was waterlogged. Mold had already started creeping up the corners of the basement. But worse than the flood was the sense that something had been hidden from me. This wasn't bad luck. This was betrayal. As I stood ankle, deep in cold water, surrounded by my soaked belongings and the smell of rot, I realized something that chilled me deeper than any storm. I had been sold a lie by my own family, and someday they would regret it. The insurance adjuster didn't even pretend to be surprised. He walked through the wreckage with practiced detachment, his boots sloshing through what was left of my living room. A clipboard in hand, phone out, snapping photos like he was cataloging a crime scene. Well, he said with a sigh, it's definitely pre-existing damage. These cracks didn't just happen overnight, and judging by the mold behind this paneling, yeah, this place has flooded before. I stood there, still in damp sweatpants, arms crossed over my chest to keep from shaking. Flooded before. I repeated slowly, as if he'd said it in a foreign language. He nodded, multiple times if I had to guess. The patchwork over the sump pump is a dead giveaway. Someone's been doing DIY jobs to cover it up. This isn't storm damage. It's structural neglect. Neglect pre-existing. Those words buzzed in my head like angry wasps. The kind of words that, legally, should have been disclosed. That afternoon, I found the neighbor across the street. An older woman with gardening gloves and a wary smile, trimming her hedges. "You're the new owner, huh?" she asked as I walked over, my voice still trembling from lack of sleep. I nodded, "Yeah, I moved in yesterday." She gave me a tight-lipped look. "Then you already know about the flooding. That was it?" No hesitation, no confusion, just, "Then you already know." I laughed bitterly. Actually, I didn't. No one told me anything about flooding. Not the agent, not the seller. No mention in the disclosures. Her brows lifted. "Really, huh? Strange. That house has had issues for years. Back when the Mitchells lived there, it flooded twice in 1 year. Even after they installed that sump pump, it still gave them trouble. I thought your brother would have told you." There it was, right there, your brother. I sat in my car for a long time after that. Hands on the steering wheel, radio off, eyes wide. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe Ryan, my brother, my blood, had known. Had chosen not to tell me, had sold me this home like I was just another name on a contract, another commission check. But it was the only thing that made sense. He knew the area. He had sold 2 houses on this same block last year. He knew the history of the neighborhood. He had access to the full disclosures. I was family, sure, but I was also easy money. A first-time buyer, naive, grateful, and trusting. God, I was so trusting. The next time I saw Ryan was 3 days later. I was sitting on a stack of plastic storage bins in my garage, surrounded by soaked boxes, the air thick with mildew and ruin. He pulled up in his glossy black SUV, sunglasses on, phone in hand. "Hey sis," he said like he was walking into brunch. "Mom said you were freaking out." I didn't answer. He stepped closer, wrinkling his nose at the air. "Yeah, it smells rough, but that's just water damage. You gotta expect some hiccups in old homes. Hiccups, I echoed, my voice low. The house flooded, Ryan. The basement is toxic. The floorboards are ruined, and you knew. He blinked. A flicker of something crossed his face. Guilt. Surprise? No. It was calculation. He was weighing how honest he could afford to be. What are you talking about? He asked, smoothing his tone. I had no idea there were flood issues. The seller's agent didn't say anything, but you were the seller's agent. That finally cracked the mask. Ryan shifted uncomfortably. I was just the intermediary, okay? They didn't disclose any of that. That's not on me. Stop, I snapped. Just stop. The neighbors knew. The previous owners filed claims. There's a water damage report from 2 years ago buried in the inspection packet. That you told me not to worry about. You said it was boilerplate stuff. You made me rush through it. Because you wouldn't have bought the house otherwise. He exploded, hands flying up. Jesus, you were going to throw away your savings on a one-bedroom condo in the suburbs. This was your shot to buy into a good neighborhood, a real investment. You mean your investment. I said coldly. He flinched. You made over 10 grand in commission on me, your own sister. Is this really about money? He scoffed. Because if it is, I can. It's about trust, I shouted. It's about the fact that you and Mom treated me like some pawn in your little financial chess game. She pushed me to buy it. You lied to me, and now I'm stuck in a moldy, rotting mess while you both play dumb. Ryan looked away. That was all the answer I needed. I didn't hear from him again for weeks. Mom tried to call. She left voicemail after voicemail, apologies wrapped in guilt. We just wanted what was best for you. Ryan didn't mean to hurt you. You're being so dramatic. Dramatic. The word echoed like an old bruise. It was what she always said when I got upset growing up. When Ryan broke my things and she told me to stop overreacting. When I cried after Dad died and she told me to be strong for her. For once, I didn't answer. Alone in the damaged house, I started documenting everything. Photos, emails, the inspection report, the cracks in the foundation, the non-functioning sump pump, the neighbor's statement, a copy of a past insurance claim I pulled from public record. Every little piece like a puzzle coming together to reveal the whole picture. They had sold me a lie together, and no one was coming to save me. That night, I stood in the basement with a flashlight, staring at the black mold climbing up the walls like shadows. I wasn't just going to fix the house. I was going to fix everything. They thought I would cry. They thought I would crumble. They forgot the most dangerous kind of person is the one who has nothing left to lose. It's a strange thing, grieving for people who are still alive. The truth settled in slowly, like a bruise blooming under the skin. Every memory I had of Ryan, every family dinner, inside joke, every moment when I thought maybe he really cares, took on a new shape. A different light. None of it felt real anymore. Worse than the mold, the financial wreckage, or the flooded basement was the ache of realizing my family had always seen me as less capable, less important, less worthy of the truth. After the confrontation with Ryan, the silence from him and Mom became a wall I didn't bother climbing. It gave me space, and in that silence, something inside me changed. I stopped crying, stopped hoping for apologies. Stopped believing they'd show up with sincerity or guilt or any version of love that didn't come with strings attached. Instead, I did what I've always done when the world fell apart. I started working. The case my friend Priya was a real one. We went to college together, and she'd ended up as a real estate attorney for a firm downtown. I didn't want to drag her into this, but she insisted on meeting for coffee when I mentioned the situation in a casual text. 30 minutes into me unraveling everything, the flooded house, the hidden inspection report, the neighbor's warning, the seller disclosure forms Ryan had summarized. For me, instead of letting me read, Priya sat back, eyebrows raised. That's real estate fraud, she said plainly. Professional malpractice, undisclosed known defects. He could lose his license, your mom too, if she's on record anywhere as having advised you. She's not on record, I said quietly. Just in my head. That's enough, she said, especially if we show pressure, manipulation, or conflict of interest. She flipped open a folder. Let's build a case. The days blurred into one another after that. I worked my teaching job during the day, then came home and became something else at night. Methodical, focused, hungry. I went through everything, the inspection packet, the emails Ryan had sent while rushing me to sign, the seller's forms with suspicious blanks, even old text messages from Mom. Every trust your brother, every you're being emotional, every breadcrumb. I wasn't just looking for paperwork. I was looking for proof that I wasn't crazy, and I found it. There was an old digital copy of the property's repair history on a county website. Public records, permits for basement repairs, previous insurance claims marked water damage major, a letter from a previous buyer backing out after a failed inspection. All of it dated months before Ryan showed me the house. He knew exactly what he was doing. The memory one night, while sifting through papers in the basement, I found something I hadn't seen in years, an old cardboard box from Mom's attic. It must have been thrown in the moving truck by accident. Inside were photo albums and loose school drawings. Me with messy braids, me at the science fair, me alone in every picture. Ryan always in the background, just out of focus. There was a birthday card, maybe from my 12th birthday. To my special girl, always take care of your big brother. He's going places. You'll always be his anchor. Mom, I don't remember reading it when I was a kid. But I remembered feeling it. My whole childhood made sense in that moment. All the times Ryan got to shine while I was told to be patient, be supportive, be quiet. I was never meant to be the star, just the stage he stood on. The setup, it wasn't just about getting justice anymore. It was about reclaiming my voice. Ryan's reputation was everything to him. He was the clean-cut, charming realtor with a 5-star rating, dozens of glowing testimonials, and a growing list of high-end clients. He was also about to have a very public fall. With Priya's help, I filed a formal complaint with the state's real estate board. We included every shred of evidence, manipulated disclosures, conflict of interest, and fraudulent omission of known defects. Then we sent copies to every relevant authority, the local housing department, the Better Business Bureau, and, in a little bow-tied envelope, to his brokerage's compliance department. But that wasn't all. I created a blog, simple, anonymous, and factual, flooded by family, a cautionary tale of real estate betrayal. It detailed everything. No names, just facts. The story of a first-time home buyer manipulated into buying a house her realtor brother knew was structurally compromised. Screenshots, timelines, laws cited, damage documented. It started with 10 shares, then 100. Then local housing advocates picked it up. Then a news blog, and then Ryan's name slipped. The fallout begins 2 weeks later. I got a text from Mom. Why are you doing this to your brother? Not why did he do this to you? Not are you okay? Just blame. Straight, clean, and familiar. I didn't reply. That weekend, Ryan's brokerage quietly removed him from the website. His license status was under review. He posted a vague Instagram story about being attacked by haters and staying positive, followed by a month-old photo of him and Mom at brunch. I wondered if she still believed in him now, or if she had realized her golden boy had turned to rust. The poison that cleanses. I never wanted revenge in the dramatic fire and brimstone way. What I wanted was to be heard, to be believed, to be respected. Sweet revenge wasn't slashing tires or screaming matches. It was silence. Dignity, paper trails, consequences that came with signatures and subpoenas. Let Ryan explain to his clients why their deals fell through. Let Mom explain to her church friends why her daughter doesn't come around anymore. Let them both sit in the mess they made. The same way I did, and me, I was rebuilding. The house was still damaged, but slowly it was changing. I found a good contractor who wasn't looking to exploit me. I learned how to seal concrete, how to dry out wood, how to fight mold. Every repair was a victory, every dollar spent, a quiet reclaiming of space. Not just the space in the house, but inside me. By summer, I had planted a garden in the backyard, tomatoes, basil, morning glories. I watched them grow from the kitchen window every morning, the scent of new paint and old memories slowly fading. The house no longer felt haunted, it felt like mine. Some endings don't come with fireworks, they come with silence. A letter in the mail, an inbox notification, the sound of wind through a half-open window in a home that finally feels still, not abandoned, not broken. Just still. I didn't expect peace when I started this. I didn't expect justice either, but I got both in small, quiet doses. And that was more than enough. The hearing took place in a bland, beige government building. A conference room with fluorescent lighting, coffee that tasted like regret, and a long table where people in suits shuffled papers and cleared their throats more than they spoke. Ryan sat on the other side of the table, hands clasped. No suit this time, just a button-down and a strained smile. Mom wasn't with him. Maybe even she had finally decided not to follow him into the fire. Priya came with me, crisp and professional, her presence a quiet shield. I said very little, just the facts, just the truth. They asked me how long I'd known about the flooding. One day, I said, one day after I bought the house. They asked if I had proof that Ryan withheld information. I handed them a binder, emails, public records, timeline, a notarized statement from the previous owners confirming they'd disclosed the flooding history to Ryan months prior. He didn't deny it. He just looked down, jaw tight. When it was over, the board took a recess. We waited outside on a bench. Ryan passed by us and stopped like he wanted to say something. Maybe he was searching for a version of himself that used to be my brother. But he didn't find it. He walked away. An hour later, the ruling came in. His license was suspended for 18 months. He was fined, required to take recertification and ethics training. His brokerage dropped him 2 days later. It didn't make the house new again, but it made the lie official. And that mattered more than I thought it would. The ripple the blog took on a life of its own. After the news of Ryan's license suspension broke, a local real estate podcast asked to interview me. I declined, but the host featured the case anyway, calling it a cautionary tale of familial fraud. A few other agents quietly reached out to say they admired my bravery. One woman told me her brother had done something similar, sold her a house with a cracked foundation. Another said she once uncovered her cousin had faked inspections for clients. Apparently, betrayal isn't rare. What's rare is doing something about it. The cut mom stopped calling after the hearing. No more voicemails. No guilt texts, no half-hearted "I'm worried about you" messages. Just a silence that was different from before. Not absence, exile. It hurt in its own quiet way. The part of me that still hoped she'd be proud one day, that she'd see me not as a background character to Ryan's success, but as someone strong, smart, whole, that part finally gave up. And giving up felt like freedom. She chose him, I chose me. The rebuild the house didn't become perfect overnight, but neither did I. We both healed slowly. I repainted the walls, replaced the warped floorboards, rewired the outlets, tore up the mildews, stained carpet in the guest room with my bare hands, sanded the windowsills until they stopped sticking. Every cut on my fingers, every bruise, every late night I spent covered in drywall dust, it all made the house feel more mine. I stopped calling it the house. I started calling it home. There's a photo on my mantel now, me, standing in the backyard next to the new garden bed, holding a shovel and grinning like I'd just won the lottery. I look tired in that photo, but I also look real, not curated, not posing for someone else's expectations. Just me, standing in the middle of the life I fought to reclaim. The final letter one day, months after everything had settled, a letter arrived in the mail. Handwritten, no return address, just, you made your point. You burned everything down just to prove you could. I hope it was worth it. R. I read it once, then I fed it to the fireplace, one word at a time. Let him believe I burned it all down. He'll never understand that I didn't destroy something. I built it. The legacy, some people inherit wealth. Others inherit wisdom. I inherited a moldy house and a lesson written in betrayal, but I also inherited a chance to begin again. Not with their lies, not under their shadows, but in my own light. The house still creaks at night. Sometimes the wind whistles through the attic in a way that sounds like a voice, but I know better now. It's not a ghost, it's a warning, it's a reminder. It's the echo of a storm that didn't destroy me, just revealed me. Now when people visit, they comment on how peaceful it feels, how it has good bones. I smile every time. They don't know the story, but I do. This house was never a steal. It was stolen from me, and then taken back with fire in my veins and truth in my hands. And now it's mine.